Welcome back to the Arden Yoga and Wellness podcast. In today's video, we're going to catch up from my summer hiatus. We're going to talk about how my summer was, some life updates, a lot of business updates, what you can look forward to moving into August with us, and so much more. So head on over to today's video and we'll catch up. We are back. We're back. I'm back. Arden Yoga's back. The podcast is back. So many things you don't even know about are back. We are back. Welcome back to our first episode in 2 months of the Arden Yoga and Wellness podcast. I am so happy to be back on my mic. I have missed this. I have missed you guys. I have missed talking about all things mind, body, wellness, movement, mindset, all the things that I'm passionate about and I love. And this summer, taking a little bit of time off was such a blessing. It was such a great decision because it really, really gave me every bit of space and regrouping and filling my cup up that I needed. And we are back, baby. We're back. So I'm going to start today's podcast, since it's been a while, with some things that you can expect throughout this episode. I'm going to lay out kind of what we're going to talk about, and we will jump right into it. So in today's episode, we are going to go over life updates. I'm going to catch you guys up on me, what I've been doing, where I've been, what my summer's been like. We're going to go over some Arden announcements. So some things that are going to be coming in August, what those look like, why I decided to make those changes, why I decided to create and add these things to Arden Yoga and Wellness. And then I'll send you on your way, per usual. So let's start with my summer. So as you all know at this point, I decided to take the summer off of the podcast. Last summer, I took the summer off of seeing any clients. So I did not see any of my yoga therapy clients. I did see one health coaching client remotely, so via Zoom throughout the summer last year, but I kept doing the podcast and I stayed active on social media. So this summer, what I decided to do was switch that out. I decided to take a break from the podcast. I didn't go into the summer intentionally expecting to take time off of being online completely, but energetically, that's where I felt led. That's where I felt called. And I just tried to honor that. It felt like what I needed and what I wanted to do. But I kept seeing my yoga clients. So this summer I was in person, but no podcast, no remote clients, no online presence. If it was very, very sparse compared to last summer. Was the opposite of that. And so as I alluded to the reason for that, it was just wanting to pause. It was just, I didn't want to be rushed. I didn't want to force the podcast. I really wanted to soak up summer and our kids being out of school. And that is exactly what I did. So some of the things that we did this summer, we took a pretty big trip every year. For the past, I think 4 or 5 years, we do a couples trip with 2 couples that are our best friends. Our husbands are best friends. The wives are 2 of my best friends. And we plan a trip. And every year the trips just keep getting better and better and more exciting. Last summer we went to Colombia. And this summer I don't decide anything. One of the girls in the group, one of my best friends, Ashton, she kind of just says, do you guys want to do this? And we all go, of course. So we decided to do Canada this year. So back in June, we did our annual couples trip and we flew into Calgary. Then we went to Banff. Then we did Jasper. Then we did Lake Louise. And then we made our way back down. And it was just so amazing. As soon as this part wasn't exactly amazing, but now looking back, it was a huge, huge blessing. When Boone and I got off the plane in Calgary, our phones did not work. And another couple on the trip, their phones didn't work either. And so we had no service in the airport, in the parking garage. Obviously, no, I didn't have any Wi-Fi either. And so we got a hold of the kids and everyone who's taking care of our children and our animals and everything back home and just said, hey, call this number if you need us because our phones it doesn't look like they're going to work. So for the majority of the trip, our phones didn't work. And after the initial kind of detox of the panic, the lie that I think I told myself, which is I need this as a necessity to get in touch with the people that I need to get in touch with, or I need this because I need my kids and everyone back home to be able to get a hold of me. Well, the reality of it is there was a phone in my room in my hotels. There was also a phone that was working of my friends, and my children have their numbers. They're very, very close with this friend group. They consider them like aunts and uncles. And so my kids could get a hold of us. I just didn't have the ability to check emails and scroll and curate a Spotify playlist. And so when we got up the second day of our trip, after we flew into Calgary, the plan was to drive to Banff, and we all had our own cars. So each couple had a car, and we're driving through the national park and no service, 1-lane roads. And it was just so perfect. It was like God's just gentleness with me of going, you need this, and you don't even have the bandwidth to see what you need. And so my phone didn't work, and there was no playlist, and it was just these beautiful drives and wildlife. And then we would get out and hike. We did a hot spring. It was just so spectacular. Last week, one of my clients in the studio, she had just gotten back from Canada, completely different area. And she said, I haven't seen any pictures. You didn't post any pictures. And I said, I was really just disattached from my phone, but also there's no picture that I took that entire trip that would have done it justice. It's almost like when people post their videos from the concert and you're like, nobody's listening to this. Nobody's sitting there jamming out to your video. This is not at all going to capture the acoustics and the vocals of that live experience. It felt like that. There was no point in we took a lot of pictures just for the sake of memories, but nothing could have captured and honored and done the wonders of those mountains and those lakes and the trees and animals the way being there in person did. And so the trip was amazing. The company is always amazing. And then it was time to get back to the kids. So that was our trip this summer. We did 4th of July at our mountain house in Monteagle with the kids as soon as we got back. That was fun. And just, again, if you can't tell, the theme, I guess, of my summer was mountains. So we did a lot of time with our kids, and the day-to-day with my children was sleeping in June, slow mornings. I didn't go to the gym this summer very much, even though I thought I was going to with our son. That was going to be kind of our thing. We did it a few times, but all of my workouts were just being at home. And I actually went into the Arden Yoga library and did some of my own videos because I just felt the need for simplicity and just to strip things down. And anything this summer that felt complicated, I said no to, whether it be relationships or meals or potential meetings and projects or activities with my kids. If it was complicated, if it was not a clear yes and no, I immediately tried to pivot. And so my movement this summer was simplified. Our meals, we really just had a really awesome, easy summer. Now, one thing kind of piggybacking off of what I just said is this summer, specifically in July, I think that June is one summer and July is another one, because June, I'm like a homesteading, patient mother that's like, I think I could homeschool my kids. July, everyone is feral. No one is really getting along like we were in June. We're just done, and it's time to go back to school. I've been ready to go back to work. In that preparation of knowing that this amazing season of summer break was coming to an end, I felt the need to do a lot of purging, a lot of cleaning out, a lot of decluttering. I felt that physically, I felt that emotionally, I felt that energetically. Because I had slowed down so much for the month of June, I think and I feel like I was ready to kind of receive that and step into it, embody it, and also be actionable with it. Because it's one thing to think and want, it's another thing to do. And so what that looks like for me was we're doing some kitchen projects at our house on the farm. And because of that, I was like, we cannot do this and not clean things out and sort. And it just felt cluttered. Also our kids have been home all summer. We have animals. We live on a farm. Everything is just cluttered and filthy. And so I've gone through every room of our house and emptied every drawer and cabinet out, physically cleaned it, wiped it down, and then thrown things away and then donated. And so physically, to go back into work, to go back into the hustle and the busyness of what a school year for our family looks like, we are in preparation. So we're trying to go in with a full cup instead of my family and myself going in with a half to empty cup. So that also opened up the conversation within myself to go, what else do I need to clean out? What else feels cluttered? What is taking up a lot of space that's not making space for maybe things that I want? And so I decided to make a couple of shifts. This sounds so stupid, and it's not like I'm not like a social media influencer with, tens of thousands of followers or anything, but just stay on track with me. So what I decided to do was, this has kind of been on my heart for a long time. I've mentioned in podcast episodes that I try not to post pictures of my family and especially my children. The reason for that is I have now 2 middle schoolers, which is crazy. And I just want to honor their anonymity and confidentiality about their lives. So I just don't, my kids are not on social media. My hope is to put that off as long as possible. And my husband's not on social media. And so it feels really good to me to have those professional boundaries of this is intentionally what I want you to see and what I'm going to allow, and I'm going to respect that I have not asked their permission, and therefore it's going to be a no. And so I didn't really know how to do that. I've always had a personal Instagram that's been private, and it has 10 years of pictures from when the kids were little on it. And I didn't want to do anything with that because I didn't want to get rid of those pictures, but I also felt the need to make sure that Arden Yoga is very clearly a business and it's also very clear of what that business offers, what I offer through that, what our services and support looks like. And so it took me 2 days. I've told a couple of my friends this and they're like, you're insane. But I felt this pull and move to completely clear out my personal Instagram. And so I cleared out 800 pictures of my family and the kids and old videos. I'm talking like when Willow was a newborn and Ori was a toddler. He's going to be 14 next month. Oh, there was a lot on there. And so I took screenshots, screen recorded all of the old videos of them when they were little, put it in a Dropbox, and then completely cleared that out and made my personal Instagram that doesn't have any evidence that I even have a family on it. And then cleaned up Arden Yoga's Instagram and social media a bit to where it's very clear that that's the business. That's kind of the storefront. And I'm not probably going to put pictures of our cow and stuff on there. That would go to my personal. And so again, this seems very silly. Like, who even cares, Kira? But for me, I just needed that clarity of this goes here, that goes there. And this feels like it's honoring what I want for my personal and private life and the people in my life that I love. So a lot of cleaning out. Both physically and emotionally, and then in my headspace. I'm trying to think of other things this summer. Really, our summer's been really slow. I did mention that I was hoping to learn how to make sourdough. That has not happened yet, but it's going to. It's just with us trying to update some things in our kitchen, it did not seem like the right time. It did not seem like a smart endeavor. And then I think when this airs, it'll be the week before the kids go back to school. I am ready. That does not mean that I have not loved the time with my family. I felt a little guilt and shame earlier this week about wanting them to go back to school and just that feeling of done. But today, when I was having quiet time and trying to meditate over it and sit with it, it came to me of this feeling of doneness it's a testimony of me squeezing every last drop of joy and intentionality and time out of my summer with my kids and my family. And so, and my friends, we got to do this epic trip with them. And so I immediately this morning, after sitting with it, was able to take that feeling of guilt. Like I should be feeling like I never want summer to end, and I should be feeling like I want more time with my kids. No, it's fine. All it means is that I soaked up every last drop of it, and this season's coming to an end. It's done. It wasn't meant to last forever. Summer's been a blast. We're done here. It's time. I want to go back to work. I've been working, but I want to go back to work full force. Y'all know what I mean. All right. So that's kind of personal stuff. Now, moving on to business. So there are some really exciting things that I'm doing with the podcast and with some of our offerings. So I love doing the podcast. My vision for the podcast a year and a half ago when we started it was just to have a free option of support. We have a long track record of really, really faithful clients. As many of you know, there's been a consistent wait list to get in with me in person. That's because I'm one human and I can only get so many clients in. It's a huge blessing. But there's also conversations and knowledge and support that I have throughout going on 13 years of owning Arden Yoga and Wellness and then being a nurse before that I still want to offer and be a catalyst for really good, sound conversations about health and wellness. And so that was the reason for doing the podcast, was to have all of that happen, right? One thing that I have learned over the past year and a half of doing the podcast, like however many 50 something episodes in, is I love doing the podcast. That's a lie. If I said I love social media, that's actually a lie. I don't love social media. That's me being honest. But I love talking really specifically to my community and my clients. Speaking into the ether, in the black hole of social media and the billions of people that are there, it sometimes is difficult to know where it's going to land. And so there's that lens. All right. So there's we'll set that jar over here. The other thing is we have our membership. So we have the podcast, we have the membership. These are the two most recent things over the past few years that I've created and introduced. So the membership, if you don't know, it is an online membership where you can get all of our online therapeutic yoga videos, the entire library. You can get the health coaching course that I do with the workbook. You can also get exclusive master classes on each individual area of health, like sleep, nourishment, mindset, community, movement. We have individual classes and master classes. I keep wanting to say workshops in the membership. And you get all of that unlimited access to it for $39.99 a month. That again is another way to support clients. So if you don't live near me, or if I don't have space in my in-person schedule to get you in, or maybe you want to do health coaching, but you're not really ready to make that big jump and work one-on-one for me. This was a support to meet people where they're at and also give people broad support. So not just movement, not just health coaching, try to give them a really well-rounded look at what holistic health and wellness looks like. So some feedback that I've gotten over the past year about the membership is, can we get time with you? So can you add live Zoom calls? Can you add a community group? And that has not been something that I've had the bandwidth to add. I really, really try to only add things, services, additions to my business that I'm really not just excited about, but also that I think I can do well. I don't want to say yes to anything if I don't think that I can execute it well and deliver what I said that I would deliver to you. And so through the space of this summer, in conversations with Kate, who is our podcast producer, and it's so much more. I don't feel like podcast producer describes enough. She's just such a wealth of knowledge, and she's so great to sit down and just toss the ball back and forth about what would be a good option as far as the podcast and services, and the list goes on. So what we talked about at the beginning of the summer was, how could we almost fuse the two? How could I make sure that I'm speaking to my community that really wants me to speak to them, that really wants to hear from me? How can I make sure that I'm honoring the requests of my clients in the membership, give them what they want? And also, how can I make sure I don't burn myself out? And how can I make sure that I'm not repetitive? And so what we came up with, I'm really excited about this, by the way, is Arden Yoga. So the membership and the podcast are going to be fusing together. And if you're like, I don't even know what that means, Kira, I'm going to break it down. So don't even worry. So what that's going to look like is, the podcast will remain the podcast, but the podcast is going to be going down to once a month. So if you are an Arden Yoga podcast listener and you want to continue to listen to it, watch it on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you listen to it, you will still get the same podcast at the beginning of every month. So the first Wednesday of every month, the podcast will still air. Same intro, same format, same style. It'll be somewhat similar to this. I'll give you updates. We'll check in. I'll also announce what the focus of the month is going to be. So every month, we'll all have more of a focus. And then for all of the other episodes, weekly episodes, those will go into the membership. Now, those episodes, again, will be somewhat the same, but they'll have more of a masterclass feel. They'll have me actually teaching and diving into more specific topics that are tailored to the requests that we get. There will also be a community chat option. So you'll be able to ask me questions about the episode. I'll be able to go back, answer questions, send links, give more support. And I think that this is a really, really great way to continue to give people the podcast that want it. But the people that have been asking for specific conversations, that have been asking for more support and community, we'll be able to give that to them as well. So I'm so excited about this because I've wanted to be able to do something like this, but I wasn't sure how I could do it. And I think that this is going to be an amazing way to do it. So what our topics are going to be for August is, we're going back to the basics. we are going back to the basics. Some of the feedback that I got yesterday, I did a Q&A on Instagram yesterday of just, how are you? How's your mindset? What support do you need? Any health and wellness struggles? And comments, it wasn't the exact same because it was different people, but one thing I kept getting was just overwhelm in the health and wellness space. And so we've done podcast episodes like this over the past year and a half here and there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the basics. And the basics, my friends, are mind, body, spirit. Okay? So next week, we're going to go over body. If you hear my words, and I'm going to dive much deeper into this in the membership episode. If you don't feel at home in your body, it is really hard to work on your mindset. It's hard to care for it. If you don't feel at home in the body that you're in, it's going to be really, really hard to manage your spirit, your mindset, and everything else that goes along with health and wellness. So I was very intentional about deciding to do body first. So we'll go over movement, embodiment, all things body and relationship with the body. And I'll also, because it will be in a more private forum, I will give a lot more of my own story. I will get to do what I do with my clients, because people in the membership are my clients, but in my personal practice and with health coaching clients, I'll be able to give you a little bit more of my personal insight. So I'm really excited about that. Then the following week, we're going to do mindset. So we'll go over all things mindset. The last week will be spirit. So we will differentiate mindset and spirit. We'll go over the essential need for a spiritual practice and a well-rounded, holistic lifestyle. And that one's going to be fun. That one's the hardest one for me to teach. I've done lessons on it before. I've done master classes. I've been on podcasts before, specifically about that. And it's tricky, but I'm definitely up for the challenge. And I'm actually really excited about it because it always stretches me as a yoga therapist, a health coach, and a holistic mentor. And so that is what is in store. And I'm, again, just so excited about it. Now, if you're wondering what the community aspect that I mentioned looks like, if any of you have ever been in a Facebook group and you can comment and add stuff and talk to people, it looks like that. It's just private and it's only for members, and it'll also be curated, controlled by me. And so people will be able to ask me questions. People will be able to ask questions about courses that they're doing. So it's going to be awesome, you guys. If you're already a member of the membership, you don't have to do anything. August 1st, those things will immediately appear in the membership for you. You don't have to do anything. I will be sending out my regular email every Wednesday. So for the past couple years, every Wednesday, we send out an email and it is announcing the podcast episode of the week, the topic. It gives cliff notes, show notes. I'll still be doing that. It'll just be a reminder and an announcement for what podcast masterclass is going into the membership for that week. And it'll have links so you can access it. If you haven't joined the membership, we'll make sure we make that very, very easy. Pricing for the membership's only $39.99. I wanted it to be, I feel like in a world where all pricing is inflated, I just wanted it to be doable. We're keeping that the way it is right now. If we continue to add on to the membership, which I do see us doing, I do see the potential in a few months for live calls with me, so live Zoom calls, then we'll have to reevaluate that. But for now, the price will continue to be $39.99, and it's a great price, you guys. I would jump on it. I'm trying to think if we have anything else. I think that's it for the membership. I'll give the option via email and then on Instagram and Facebook for questions about it. But I'm really excited. If you are wondering about just, again, the podcast, it's still going to be on YouTube. We're still going to post about it on social media. So you'll still get a full episode every month, the beginning of the month. It's just going to have all of the other episodes will be inside the membership. So I think that's it, you guys. I've got more things coming down the pipeline, but I also want to, I want to kind of play chess. I really don't want to announce all of my moves until I've got everything polished up and ready. But in next month's episode, we will have a lot more to announce that is in the works, but it's just not ready yet. And I think I've probably updated you on enough today. I don't want you guys to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you have questions, never hesitate to reach out. If you need support in your health and wellness, I'm not taking any new yoga clients right now, but we have plenty of online yoga therapy videos that are truly the next best thing to working with me in person. And you can buy those individually. You can buy the entire library. If you buy the videos, you get to keep them forever. And you can also access those as a member. I will be taking in September, I don't know how many, 2 to 3 health coaching clients for the fall. We'll send out additional announcements. That is via application only. So we'll announce that later on. And if you haven't joined the membership, what are you waiting for? It's already so good. But what we're about to do with it is it's going to be epic. It's going to be so good. It's going to offer great community. It's going to be a place where you can feel encouraged by other people that are on the same path as you, hold a lot of the same values as you, that are really, really trying to enhance their life through health and wellness practices. And you're going to get exclusive access with me. So it's not going to be the same as commenting on an Instagram or Facebook feed and asking me a question. It's going to be in a private group that's exclusive to members only. So jump on the membership if you haven't already. And I will see you guys very, very soon in our next episode. Thanks for joining me. It was so good to be back. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.